rice is number 2 grain in the world. There were 741 million tons of it produced worldwide. Rice has its origin in Asia, and it's been cultivated for about 10,000 years. This picture shows you rice grains. Each one of these is same species of rice, but it's a different variety. You can see we've got some brown ones, we've got some golden ones, we've got some green ones, we've got some white ones, we've got elongate ones, we've got oval type ones. There are a lot of variations that we can see in rice. It is an excellent source of carbohydrate. It's used all over the world as a food, almost specifically for humans. Rice grain, that is what the panicle of it looks like. You can see that the rice grains have a brown outer casing on it. That brown outer casing is removed in the milling process. You can see what it looks like up on top where the rice grain has been taken out of it. This material that's left over is quite abrasive if you rub it in your hand. It is totally unusable as a food source. In some areas of the world, they take the rice hulls and they will use it as a bedding material in chicken houses. It will pick up material, then you can use it as a compost. Rice is normally associated with growth in ponds or paddies. This shows you a paddy area. You can see they flood the areas with water. They then plant the rice on the inside of it. The rice does very well in the submerged area. You leave it in the submerged area all the way until it is ready to harvest, and then you dry the area down. You can see that a lot of these have rows of rice planted in it. It's a labor-intensive crop. They plant individual plants into each one of the paddies. Person's walking around in there all day long planting this. You dry it down before harvest, you harvest it dry. They collect the material, they take it over to a place where it's going to be thrashed. There are other types of rice that we consider to be upland rice. The upland rice is not planted in a paddy type area, but rather it's planted on dry ground. The upland rice is more oval. This, by contrast, is a very labor intensive. This shows you a rice collector. This is a little bit different than the one that you saw for corn. You see the bars in front with the little hooks downwards. It grabs the rice plants, it pulls them in, and as these go by, it slices off the base of the rice plant, much like a lawnmower would, and the grain and the plant material is taken into the center. It goes up on the combine where it is processed, and you get the grain that can then be offloaded out of the little chute in the back. And this is more like a real type lawnmower. This is the way they harvest small grains compared to something like corn, which is a large grain. Another type of rice we have is wild rice. Wild rice is Zizania aquatica. In 2021, worldwide production was 8 million kilograms, most of this from the United States. The origin is out of North America. The Native Americans often harvested this rice. The stem of the plant can be eaten as a vegetable. These normally grow in ponds. You can see a pond here. This is near the Superior National Forest. The way the Native Americans would harvest, they would wait for it to become mature. They would go out in their canoes. One person would paddle the canoe. Another would have one stick in each hand. They would pull the rice plant inflorescence over the canoe, and then they'd beat on it with the other stick. That would shake the rice loose. You would get it filling up the inside of the canoe. The only problem was it was an inefficient methodology. About 20 to 25% of the rice grains were lost over the edge. Later on, they came in with machinery that would do a much better job at harvesting, and when they did that, they found out that the 20 to 25% that went over the edge actually repopulated the area, kept the production up. Now when they harvest, they don't take it all. They leave stuff back so that it can be repopulating the area. It is not a relative of the common long grain rice. Rather, it's a totally different kind of grass. Zizania rather than Oryza. Much smaller production. We have major production in the northern part of the United States.